Hey everyone, National Master Steven Adams here. Today I want to work with you on tactical vision. The position that we see here comes from a tournament game of mine a couple years ago. Instantly we can see a big feature in this position, which is the rooks facing each other on the c-file. So, is there any way to take advantage of this? In any situation like this, I would advise you to calculate the forcing moves first. Decide whether or not if they work. If they do work, then of course you play them. But if there's one variation and just one variation that refutes your move, you can stop calculating then. And after that, you can look for ways you can modify the initial position so that your tactical idea would then work. So here, I'll give you a little bit to figure out what you would do here as white. So you can pause the video here and figure something out. But now I'll say in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the right move here is to play knight to d4. And this is a very good move because now if we ever try to make this knight takes d5 tactical idea work, our rook will be defended on c2, and it also creates the big positional threat of knight takes f5, which would shatter the black pawn structure. Just really quickly, if we try knight takes d5 immediately, after rook takes c2, knight takes e7, we do get two bishops and a pawn for a rook and a knight, but it's not so clear that white's any better here. This rook is on the 7th rank, and we do have the two bishops, but we're also down in exchange, so it's very imbalanced. I would even take black here, but after knight d4, on the other hand, white is simply doing very well because my opponent played bishop g6 in the game, but now the tactical idea just completely works. We have knight takes d5, and now after rook takes c2, we even have knight takes e7 check, king f8, and knight takes g6. And since that's check, they have to recapture, and now when we take c2, we are just up a full piece, and black has to resign. So, this next example that I want to show with you comes from a blitz game of mine. I played this a couple days ago, and my opponent just played the move knight to e5. So immediately they're attacking the queen on d5, but we can also see that black has some tactical ideas as well. So again, I'll do the same thing. I would urge you to calculate the forcing moves first and evaluate whether they work, and eventually you can come up maybe with a tactical idea for black in this position. So I'll pause here and I'll resume in 3, 2, 1. So the right idea in this position is to play the move knight takes d4. And this is a very strong move. You know, we're not moving our queen, we're allowing them to take our queen, but what's going to happen is we'll regain it with knight e2. So after bishop takes d5, knight e2 check, king f1, knight takes c3. Currently the material is even. We did win a pawn though, so but now the best thing white can do is actually just to trade pieces. So after b takes c3, bishop takes d5, rook takes d5, black can actually get this knight back on e5 by playing the move e6. This is the key move that you have to see at the end to play this line. And this rook is forced away from the defense of the knight, so black will emerge from this endgame a pawn up and with a much superior pawn structure. In the event that they take the bishop on b7, you can also take on d1, and after they take the rook and you recapture, we see simultaneously this knight is under attack and the b2 pawn is also in trouble. So if we had something like knight d3, we might imagine something like rook d8 happening, and this knight is in trouble, and the b2 pawn are both in trouble. So one thing you may have been tempted by in the initial position was to play queen takes g2, and this is a very forcing move. Now, forcing doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Forcing means that we should calculate it, but it doesn't always mean we should play it. Now, white's response is very forced, right? Knight takes d4 here, or knight takes e5 rather, would pick up the piece. But after king f1, there's just nothing really for black to do. We only have two minor pieces, this bishop and this knight, that can really work against the white king right now, and that's just simply not enough to justify the queen sacrifice. So while I would urge you to at least consider a move like queen takes g2 here, that should definitely be on our radar, we can determine after king to f1 that we simply just don't have enough to make the attack work. So hopefully, yeah, we were able to get some calculation practice here, work on some tactical vision. As always, calculate the forcing moves first, and if they don't work, you can either look for ways to modify the initial position to try and make your idea work, as in the first example, or you can look for alternatives, like we did in the second example, look for different themes to make the same idea work, like the pressure down this diagonal. We can't take on g2 immediately, but we can still use that pressure to make a second tactical idea work, which is knight takes d4. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.